Hi, my name's Keith Cooper from Northlight Images. I'm doing some short videos about aspects of being a professional photographer. Previous video I looked at some of the points I picked up over the years, since I've been a working professional photographer now since 2004, so I must be doing something right. But I call myself a professional photographer. Now, photography is unusual in that it has a distinction between professionals and amateurs. You don't find that in many other areas. It's interesting. You can be an amateur archaeologist or a professional archaeologist, I suppose, and there's a few other ones and pieces like that. But it's that word professional. Now, what does that mean? Now, to me, it means I run a photography business. It means that I have to take photos when I sometimes don't feel like taking photos. It means that I have to produce consistent results whether I feel like it or not, but that's part of running the business and supplying a product. And my photographs are products. Now, they are my work, they are whatever I invest in them, whatever I think of them, but they're still products, and that's what it comes down to. The reason I come back to this about what is professional, because it's a question I heard asked quite a lot a few years ago and hadn't heard until recently. Somebody said, there are too many professional photographers, and I could hear the quotes around professional. Photography should be a regulated profession. It isn't. Certainly not in the UK. I can call myself a professional photographer. That's fair enough. What makes me a professional photographer? The fact that I tell you I am, and that's about it. Now, there's a persistent myth that often goes with these questions about regulation. They said, oh, well, a gas engineer needs regulation before they can come and work on, permits and or certificates and training before they can come and work on my house. Yeah, I should hope so too, because I've seen the results of a gas explosion. There's not a lot left of the building or anyone in it afterwards. Yeah, I do want trained professional gas installers. Architects. Now that's a regulated profession in that I cannot call myself an architect. Now I could call myself a software architect. In fact, I did in a previous career. I'm sure I used the term, but that's not an architect. An architect designs, oversees the construction of buildings. Once again, get that wrong, building collapses, that hurts people. If I go to photograph a building and I get it wrong, if I forget to focus the lens or something like that, that's my fault. It causes inconvenience, it causes embarrassment, but it really doesn't threaten anybody. So from that point of view, no. I've heard the thing saying, oh, anyone can come along and say they're a wedding photographer. Well, you're welcome to it. I wouldn't touch wedding photography with a barge pole. I respect immensely people who can do it and have the patience and skills to deal with people at a wedding. I almost certainly don't. That's why I photograph things like buildings and machinery and people at work and stuff like that. If that goes wrong, it's a business failure. Yeah, it's going to be dreadful for the people whose wedding it was, but there are legal redress against that. You hire an incompetent photographer, well, what are you going to do about it? You're probably trying to save money anyway by not hiring a good photographer. Sometimes you genuinely get what you pay for. So, yeah, that's not a reason for regulation and red tape and forms to fill in. And I notice, incidentally, in the UK, I run a business. It's a registered business. It's a limited company, VAT registered. That's our sales tax or value-added tax here in the UK. It's a proper business. It's not me self-employed. It's a proper. Now I use that as a marketing advantage of saying, hey, look, we're a proper business. We do it. There's no requirement for me to do that, and nor would I want there to be a requirement for people to do that. We're VAT registered because we deal with companies. All our clients are companies, so VAT works in our favour in that respect. There's no need to do it. Another area I have trouble with is the myth of that by having a regulation system there would be some ethical code of conduct, that it would be covered by law. It's not. Now, paraphrase Groucho Marx, I believe, if you can fake ethics, you've got it made. What does that really mean? To me, it's about personal integrity, but I had that when I ran a business in a different area. That's a personal thing. There are legal aspects of what you can and can't do legally from contractual point of view, how you deal with business, and running a business. Our business has to prepare accounts, it has to submit VAT returns and all the various bits and pieces there. But that's not ethics. To me, I don't need somebody telling me how to be a good person. It rarely works anyway. Ethics codes are signed up to by people who tend to believe in ethical codes. You can debate its utility in other areas, but in photography, no, I don't think so. This brings me around to the professional photography clubs, or associations, institutes, etc., as they often prefer to be known. Sounds better, doesn't it, than a professional photography club. When I took up photography, it was at the time of the big move from film to digital, and I had a feeling that many of the clubs were fighting a rearguard action to keep the newcomers out. It was that feeling that you got from established photographers. Now, there's some great guys and a few women as well. It is depressingly still a large amount of men doing this. But there were some nice people I met. They were friendly people, but they had a corporate mentality that you get with associations like that. Now, I decided at the time that there was no real business relevance for me in joining such organisations. Now, it's up to you to decide if you want to join one of these groups, but look at it from a personal point of view, what's in it for you, but also look as what's genuinely in it for your business. There are an awful lot of people who pay subscriptions to these various groups and organisations. And if you ask them why, it's because, well, I always have done, or they'll mention something about insurance or something like that. Often they don't have very strong reasons for actually being members of such groups. Now, I'm a member of the RIBA, the Architects Association in the UK, because I'm interested in architecture, and it's full of people who are architects and involved in architecture, and are naturally the kind of people who I do work for. So that's got a great business relevance. Also, I happen to know lots of people locally. I enjoy meeting. That's a solid reason why I decided to be a member of that. I used to be a member of the Federation of Small Business. That was very relevant at the time for the business I met. The kind of people I would meet in that, though, tended not to be the businesses where I would work with. So it was less useful, but I looked at that from a personal point of view and a business point of view. And I have to say, looking at some of the professional organisations, I just don't see their relevance anymore. Now, you may disagree, and I'm sure people will disagree and think, but look at it seriously. Don't just join something because you think you have to. Being a member and having, and I'm going to say, spurious letters after your name, don't mean a thing. Now, I've got 2 degrees in different subjects, a master's, and I could put these letters after my name. I don't. They mean nothing. Qualifications mean very little in photography. Now, you might personally want to have some qualifications. That's a personal choice as to how it influences you and how you feel. But don't fool yourself that qualifications make a difference in doing your photography. Not one person since 2004, when I've set this up, has actually asked me, Keith, what are your qualifications in photography? Nobody has ever asked, because I don't have any. And I don't mind. If you want qualifications and you think to it, get some business qualifications. Learn how to run a business. Learn about marketing. Do things like that. That's what makes a difference. Now, I'm going to have some more videos coming up. I've got a few more that I'm going to do about aspects of marketing your photography business. But I would say, remember, it's changed a hell of a lot since 2004, and the rate of change will accelerate. You have to embrace that if you want a business that lasts. Anyway, hope these little short videos are of some use. Please do subscribe to the channel, ask some questions, or email me at Northlight if you've got any questions. And thank you very much.